Hello, everybody. This is Chris Scott with the Paperless Agent, and we're going to be talking about pre-listing packet tip strategies to stand out and sell more homes, and along the way, share a bunch of other strategies and insights. We're going to be starting in at the top of the hour, which is very quickly counting down. So I wanted to just say hello. Make sure you're able to utilize that chat feature, and if you just go over there and say loud and clear if you can hear me and if you can see the screen there. And in just a moment, my partner in crime here, Gary, is going to be hopping on and saying hello as well. And
hello.
There we go.
I hear you loud and clear, Chris. I don't know. Yeah, everybody else can hear you loud and clear. So I think we're good to go.
All right. Well, I just popped on my video camera sharing device
There's
as well.
A handsome double.
Yeah, I've been putting
working
on
out?
some. No, I was just putting a black shirt on, so it's a thinning type of shirt for me.
Oh, no wonder I look so fat. Wearing white.
Gotcha. All right, so welcome everybody. We're excited to share with you what we've got to share with you. We're talking about listings. We're talking about getting listings, and we're talking about some tools to help you get some more listings and ultimately help you get recognized as that listing expert agent. I think that, according to the National Association of Realtors, the way sellers choose, the number one determining factor that sellers use to choose and hire their real estate professional is the agent's reputation. And so when your reputation is one of being a listing expert agent, then guess what? You get hired. And so with that, Gary, we've got, I wanted to start everything off, if we could, as we warm up and get everybody welcomed and introduced, is I wanted to start a poll, if we could.
I just started it.
There we go. So the poll that we have here, and I'm just going to hide my thing while I read these things off. Go to the poll. There should be a poll that pops up. And I just want you to answer the question here. Which of these three things is most important to you today? And this will help us tailor today's presentation and information for you guys. And so tell us through the poll, not using the chat feature. We'll talk about the chat feature in just a second, but using the poll, let us know if you would like to be known as a listing expert agent in your market, if that's the priority for you today. Perhaps you're here because you never want to lose a listing to the competition. Let us know if that's why you're here today. Or number three, you could use a boost in confidence on your next listing appointment. And so let us know which one of those three things is more important to you. And what we're going to do is we're going to keep moving along, giving you some time to answer and respond to that question. And while you do, I just wanted to let you know the overarching goal that Gary and I have for you guys today is to help you create and use a powerful pre-listing packet to set you apart and get you recognized as that listing expert. And let's see here. What else? Oh, we should probably take a moment, Gary, because I know many of you, this might be the
like,
first
who are
time
these jokers
you're joining us. And so I thought I'll introduce myself first. My name is Chris Scott. I'm a real estate digital marketer. I manage social media accounts with over 200,000 connections. I spend most of my time either sharing what we've learned through our real estate practice here in Austin, Texas, where we also take care of home buyers and sellers. So we have an active foot in the real estate industry by selling real estate. And also I work to generate and do the marketing for our real estate team as well. And collectively across all the different businesses that Gary and I have together generate about 5,000 leads every single month. But today we're really here to learn from Gary because Gary is our resident listing expert agent. Gary, can you just take a moment to let everybody know a little bit about you because we're going to be learning a lot from you today.
Yeah, so my name is Gary Kreth. I've been selling real estate in the Austin market for about 23 years now, and I have always focused on being a listing expert agent because I knew that I could leverage my time and sell more homes by working with sellers. Plus, listings get you buyers. So I just always focused on that. And in the height of my career, just before Chris and I started working together to share everything that we're doing in our own business, I was going on about 6 listing appointments every single week and was carrying about 50 active or pending listings at a time. And so the system that we're going to talk about today, we are going to talk about how to generate those listing leads, but it really helps you get into a mindset and a position to where you can replicate what I was able to do by just having this powerful listing business.
Well, I think so much of building up a listing business and so much of getting listing opportunities and getting those listings, it goes back to where listings come from in the first place. And it's getting recognized as that listing expert agent.
Exactly.
And here's the thing. You get recognized as a listing expert agent by, guess what? Doing the things that listing expert agents do, right? You do the things that they do. You think the thoughts that they think. You say the words that they say. You do the marketing that they do. And guess what that makes you?
Listing expert agent.
I know. That's funny how that actually comes to be, and you're in the right spot. We're very tactical. We're going to show you real templates. We're going to show you all of like a whole system to help you get recognized as that listing expert agent.
Wait, now, before we go to the next poll, Chris, we got to talk about the last one.
Oh, we should probably do that, Gary. What were the results from the previous poll?
So it looks like 55% want to be known as a listing expert agent, and then 22% shared the next two. So really, I mean, bam, they know what they're here to learn is to how to become that listing expert agent, how to get that reputation so you get more business. And here's, by the way, I wanted to let you guys know what's about to happen today is that we're gonna train for the next hour and just share everything we've got and everything that works for us. And then at the end of that time frame, we're going to get into some Q&A. So here's where we need you to focus on using the chat section. Don't go over to the chat section and tell us how awesome Chris is and how handsome he is. Like, we already know that.
No. Here's the thing. Don't do me a favor. Don't go in there asking whether this is a replay. Is that a replay? Is that a replay? Yes, it is a replay.
No, we're live.
It's not a replay. We're here. We're here to share with you everything we got. I got more than me and Gary here. We actually have our team here logged in as well to be able to support you guys and to be able to answer your questions. And so just because maybe we don't answer your question right away, that does not mean we are not here. It means that we have a presentation that we want to give, and we've got some knowledge and skills we want to share with each and every one of you. And in order to do that, we got to respect everybody's time. So,
so use that chat section to ask questions that you want clarification on, because we'll go into Q&A at the end of the training.
Yes. And depending, if it's a really pertinent one, we might pause and say, hey, let's answer this question. But we've given this, we've shared this information enough times. We think we've got most of the holes plugged, but definitely use it and let us know. And that actually leads us to this next question. And Gary, if you could pop that poll up here.
Already did.
Just let us know if you're already using a pre-listing packet or some form of pre-listing system, right, that you have. And we'll define that. We're going to show you exactly what we do. In fact, here's what we've got lined up for today's discussion. We're going to share with you the pre-listing packet precepts. This is like what you need to have in any listing packet that you're going to produce. I'm going to share with you our 5-part pre-listing packet or our 5-part pre-listing packet email. We're going to share with you templates and examples. I'm even going to show you guys some tools to ethically sabotage the competition, which is essential if you want to, there's a lot of competition out there. And if you want to be the winning listing expert agent, you have to have the tools to be able to set yourself apart, right? And we want to do it ethically, but we want to do it effectively at the same time. And then it's really important as well that if we're going to make these promises, so ultimately a pre-listing packet, it creates promises that we're going to offer. In fact, heck, being known as a listing expert agent infers a promise that we're going to make to that prospective seller or to any lead that we're going to have. And so we got to make sure that we mirror the promises in our listing presentation. And so I've got some cool stuff lined up. We're actually going to take a look at a few of the slides from Gary's listing presentation that he uses. And then along the way, Gary, if we can, let's drop some tips, some strategies, some tactics, some easy ways that people can use to be able to find that next listing opportunity. And
yeah, absolutely, because it's not just about getting the listing agreement signed, right? We got to get the listing appointment in the first place. So we'll drop some tips on that. Chris, wanted to share that last poll. About 50-50 are using a pre-listing packet.
Oh,
so
nice.
if you've never used one before, man, just follow along and just document, take a lot of notes.
Take
do exactly what we do. Take screenshots. Absolutely.
Take screenshots.
And if you're already using a pre-listing packet, well, maybe you'll pick up some nuggets here that can help you
take some screenshots
yours
as well. Yeah, all it takes is, it's amazing. If you already have one, just adding that one ingredient might be what you need and what you're looking for. And so when we designed and when Gary created the pre-listing packet, Gary, now you told me originally you made your pre-listing packet to be able to compress the time frame to get a listing agreement, right?
Yeah, one thing I'm always focused on is efficiency and being able to secure more clients, get more listing agreements signed in less amount of time. But here's the problem, Chris, is at the time I was going on 2 listing appointments with the same client in order to get them to sign a listing agreement. And so I thought, there's got to be a way for me to reduce my the sales cycle, reduce the amount of time I'm spending with the clients, because it felt like I was just going in there and just repeating a bunch of stuff that was in my documentation anyway. And I'm like, what if I send this to them beforehand? Will that reduce the amount of time that I have to spend with them? And it did. It actually cut out my entire second listing appointment. So I was able to go on one listing appointment and get the listing agreement signed. But there were a lot of interesting byproducts and benefits, additional benefits to sending this out that I didn't expect. And that's what we're going to talk about. That's what these precepts are.
Well, ultimately what happened is through innovation and through response, we realized that the pre-listing packet was an opportunity to stand out from the competition before we met with the client, right? So this is an important factor. You definitely want your clients to know, and your prospective clients to know, and your leads to know why they should hire you instead of somebody else. Like, they should have a legitimate reason that we are effective at communicating. In their mind, they must have a reason why they think that we are better than the alternatives that are out there. And when we're not intentional about that, when we're not intentional about differentiating, guess what? We all look the same. There could be nothing worse than everyone being the same, right? Because what happens? Well, then they choose based on price. They choose based on convenience factor. They don't choose ultimately what's best for them if they think we're all the same. And I find that, I think as real estate professionals, I think anybody who's a service professional, anyone who's in professional services, including real estate, whether you're a doctor, lawyer, so on and so forth, we have a hard time communicating our value. Like, we have a hard time establishing the value that we represent to our customers. And so much of it is just based on standing out. So one of the precepts that we have is anything we're going to put into the pre-listing packet, right, should work to make us stand out. It should make us stand out and look different from the competition. The other thing we want to do, Gary, and I think this is one where when and the way in which this happens, we're going to show you like a specific way Gary has done this. But when Gary shows up to a listing appointment, there's this phrase that people will say, and I don't want to reveal it yet, Gary, because otherwise it'll kind of like spill the beans. But Gary automatically walks in knowing I won this deal, right? I already know I've won this, because they implicitly trust you because of the information and the experience they've had with the information before you even had a chance to meet. And so building reputation, building trust, very important. And remember, I mentioned this earlier when we first logged on, that according to the National Association of Realtors, right, the number one determining factor for sellers when they go to hire a real estate professional, it's not the commission, right?
Nope.
It is the agent's reputation, right? Can I trust you? Are you competent, right? Are you known?
Well, that's the biggest word in real estate right there, is trust.
All right. And then the last thing we got to do is, because the pre-listing packet is information that we're sending before we go on an appointment, right? We got to make sure we set up the listing appointment so that basically it's like that domino effect, right? The domino effect is when because of everything being placed appropriately in advance, when you knock on the door's like knocking down the domino effect, and everything ends with the predetermined outcome, which is you getting that listing, right? With you getting that client. And so those are the the 3 pre-listing packet precepts. With that, Gary, is there anything that I missed?
No, that's absolutely it. And it's just really about standing out, building trust. So then when you show up to that appointment, you actually, here's an awesome byproduct, Chris, is when you send this out, you build your own confidence. So you walk in the door and you feel better about yourself. You feel better about your presentation. You feel better and more secure and knowledgeable that you're going to get that listing agreement signed. So it's huge. We're going to go through this whole thing, take a ton of notes, take screenshots. With that, let's talk about our 5-part pre-listing packet email.
Now, this is exciting because the different parts in here, you guys, Gary, remind us to share how some of these parts can actually double down as being like a listing lead generating opportunity. Okay.
Yeah. Oh man, it's huge.
Right. So the cool thing about what you're going to be learning today is the different components. Some of these different components can be used. They can be repurposed, so to speak, right, as being a business building tool or business building parts. So let me just show you the pre-listing packet email that we use. Now, I know you can't read it, okay? You can't read it because it's too little on the screen. But guess what? I've got some good news. I'm actually going to zoom in to this document, zoom into this email so that we can read it line by line. And then we're even going to explore what each one of these things link to so that you've got a complete understanding on how to replicate this. Okay, guys? So don't worry. I know you can't read it. It might be a little bit blurry, but I'm going to zoom in and read it so that you can read and see it in its entirety. As we promised, we're giving you templates and we're going to give you real examples. But I wanted to just communicate very briefly the 5 different parts, right? Just to give you some context as we step into these individual parts. I want you to see how they connect to the whole, right? So we use an email. Back in the olden days. Gary, what did you use? You used to print this. You print this out, right? You'd print like an envelope out and.
Yeah, I would print this out, and I would actually have a team member hand deliver it to the listing to the seller.
Which you can still,
the time, yeah.
Which you could still do, but we use email, and the reason why we use email is you'll see pretty quickly it allows us to use multiple more advanced mediums of communication. So the 5 parts are though confidence links, property marketing, client onboarding, seller homework, and the PS. And so we're going to dive into each one of these in great detail, starting with confidence links. And I'll explain what each one of these things are, give you examples, and also read through the email. So we're talking about confidence links here, Gary. And before we get into it, I think I should probably start reading the email, right? Just so that people know the context for it. Every word chosen.
As you start, Chris, I want you to start. Can you share with us the importance of the header? Like the subject line?
Subject line, the actions required before our appointment on Friday.
Why is that so important? Why is every single word in there so important?
So nothing's done by accident, everything's done by choice. What we want to do is place a high sense of urgency around reading through this email because it's very easy because they know they're going to have an appointment with us. Let's say you've already had the conversation with them, so you scheduled an appointment with them, but we need to make sure that they see this and say, oh, there's stuff I got to do before that time, right?
Right.
So actions required Friday. Those are the things that are standing out because they're going to see who it's from, and then they're going to see that, oh, I can't just ignore this email. This isn't just a recap of what we talked about. This is actually something that is required of me. Okay, so that's why we do that. And then it says, hey, Gary, as a reminder, our appointment is this Friday at 6 p.m. By the way, anything that's in bold, you also want to replicate that, right? Bold is important. Formatting in any kind of communication is part of what gets things to stand out, right? It's why in social media we use emojis. It's why whenever we're writing an email, we want to format it very specifically so that it's easy to read, but at the same time calls attention to important parts. So we got to make sure that, hey, first and foremost, remember, we got an appointment on Friday, confirming that. Before we meet, please complete these 4 simple activities to make the most of our time together. So we're going to ask them to do 4 simple things in this pre-listing packet email. The first of these is to watch these videos. Number 1, watch these videos. Please take 10 minutes to watch these short videos on getting ready to sell your home. Spending 10 minutes now will save us 45 minutes later. And then you'll see that there's some links there. And these are actually links to, for us, you could do a couple of different things. You don't have to do videos. You could also, instead of saying watch these videos, you could say read these articles, right? You don't have to do video.
Right.
I'm going to explain why we do video, and I'm actually going to show you a portion of one of those videos. We like to do video, but ultimately you're trying to build confidence. So we're just sharing tips and advice to help build confidence, whether you do it as an article or a blog post or a page on your website, or if you do it like we've done is a video that we actually link to. And so what are the examples of things we want to have them watch or read? How to market your home in the Austin real estate market, right? So these are preparation things, how to get your home ready for sale, home pricing strategies. All of these are actual tips, but at the same time, and as you'll see when I'm going to play a portion of one of these videos, Gary.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Well, just a short snippet of it. Whether, like I said, whether it's an article or a video, what you're doing is you're providing your advice in advance so they can experience it. And therefore, how does that impact your reputation? It goes up. It increases.
Absolutely. It increases that reputation, which increases your chance of getting that listing agreement signed anyway. And Karen said, did you make these videos? Absolutely. And Chris is about to show a little bit of one.
I'm just going to play a part of the how to market your home one. How's that? I'm not going to play all of it because I think it's like 3 or 5 minutes long. And to be honest with you, nobody wants to sit here and listen to Gary that long talking about, how to market your home. Just kidding, Gary.
Ouch.
And I'm sure they want to listen to more, but we, and respect for everybody's time, I'm just going to play maybe a minute, 30 seconds to a minute. So you just get the idea so that we can keep moving on to the other parts. Let's check out this video.
Hi, this is Chris Scott.
And I'm Gary Kreth of Kreth and Scott Homes. And today we're here to answer the question, what are you going to do to attract buyers to my home?
Well, Gary, that's an excellent question because there's the way people used to do it, and then there's the way we do it today. Mm-hmm. So in the old days of selling real estate, and I joke around by saying in the old days of selling real estate, but in the old days, people, real estate professionals, would put a sign in the yard, they would put the home in the MLS, and then they would pray that it sells. Right? And so that's how we used to do it in the old days.
Well, you could get away with it then, but times they have a change. So Chris, what is critical now to attract home buyers to a home?
Sure. Well, first you have to take in consideration preparation of the home, pricing strategy for the home, and here's the big kicker, promotion of the home. And so this is where what we do is really.
And we're back here. We go into talking about what they can do and basically what we're going to do on their behalf. And so they watch that video. So what happens? They're watching a video of us talking about marketing their home. So there's a little bit of them learning about our value proposition. What are we going to do for them, right? Some of that's being addressed before we even show up. So there's, what do you call it? I mean, we're basically selling. There's a sales presentation happening.
What we're doing is we're building trust preemptively. We're seeding them to say, okay, I trust these guys. I want to hire these guys. And we're educating them as to what we're going to do different. So we're differentiating ourselves. And by educating them, I don't have to talk about this stuff during the listing appointment, which saves us a ton of time. It's just so much better that way.
Now, I mentioned there's a phrase that people will say, Gary, when you walk up, to somebody or perhaps you haven't met before and you go on a listing appointment and they'll say something along this line like this. They'll say, you know what? I've seen all your videos. I feel like I'm meeting a celebrity, right?
Or I feel like I already know you.
I feel like I already know you, right? So,
man, when they say that, Chris, it's that combined with something else that we'll talk about in a little bit, but it's about our marketing plan. Is that if I hear those words and I see my marketing plan printed out on the table, I'm in. And maybe we should actually show everybody that marketing plan.
We will. We're going to actually show them that next. And so we've got some videos here. Like I said, you don't have to do video. You could do articles talking about similar things. But here's what happens is you're educating your client about what's going to happen, about what we're going to do. And it's a very powerful way because you're sharing your advice and they're getting to experience your advice before meeting with you or before working with you. And here's what happens. When they experience your advice, they experience what it's like to work with you in advance. Now, all of a sudden, they feel more comfortable with you as opposed to the other folks that they might consider reaching out to, right? So they already feel like they have a better understanding of what it's like to work with you. And this is part, you think about like the process of working with a new customer or working with a client to sell their home. So much of it is education, right? You're always communicating. You're always educating them what's going to happen next, what's going to happen next. And this is giving somebody who does not know what's going to happen next a lot of information to be able to quell any fears that they might have or concerns that they have and just feel like, you know what? And here's where you see what we've done differently is now we've turned our education of the customer into a competitive advantage by putting it into video and letting them experience it through video. By the way, when you take the time to create video, or even if you take the time to create those articles, you now have marketing tools that you can use. So one of the ways that these videos or those articles that you can use can double down as being an opportunity to find leads and to be able to work with more customers is send that out. Like literally email as you create a new video or as you create a new article, let's say at least once a month, just send it out. Send it out to everybody that you know. Put it onto social media. Say, hey, I recently shot this video or I recently wrote this article on how to market your home in Austin. Or how to get your home ready for sale or home pricing strategies. And I just wanted you to have it in case you or somebody you knew were thinking of moving in the next year, right? So you just share that on a regular basis. What happens is you're providing value, you're communicating on a regular basis. And guess what? You're going to work with more people, right? And I'll explain to you a little bit more why that is the case in a moment. But there's that video that I was going to share, and you can see that that's actually on our YouTube. That particular video is on our YouTube channel. And
holy cow! I just saw that has over 25,000 views.
Oh, it's got more than that now, Gary. I think it's pressed 30,000 at this point. Yeah. But here's the thing. We made the video. We put it out there. People started watching it. Like, as people search for this type of stuff. I mean, at this point, Gary, even if somebody searches for like you, if somebody goes into Google and types in like Gary Kreth Realtor, this will be like an actual YouTube video will show up in the Google search results. I mean, talk about that being really powerful, right? Talk about that being getting you more opportunities. So there's the video, which then leads us to the next thing, which is property marketing. And, you know, like when you look at it, what's happening is tremendous amount of confidence being built. Now, all of a sudden, what we're going to do is we're going to build their trust, but in a very specific area. We want to build trust in our ability to market and sell that home and ultimately to find a buyer. So let's look at how we do that. So recall, Gary, that we were going to hit on 4 simple activities, right? The first one was to watch those videos, or if you didn't create videos, to read these articles. The next one then is to review my property marketing plan. Marketing your home is one of my biggest jobs, and I take it seriously. We will discuss my marketing plan for your home when we meet, and then there's a link to, well, like we said,
our marketing plan,
right? So
yeah, and remember, as I said, there were 2 things. If I show up and they say, "Oh, I feel like we already know you. We've seen all your videos," and I look at their table and they have this printed out, I'm like, "Here, just sign here. Let's just get going because I'm done." You know. So this is huge. Please pay attention here.
Yeah, like remember I mentioned, and I kind of did so half jokingly, about having a tool to ethically sabotage your competition. This is that tool. And so with this specifically, you are showing, right? So we talked about communicating your value. You know, how do we communicate our value? One of the ways that we need to communicate our value is for our seller clients and leads and people in our market to understand what we do differently. And one of the ways that we can explain and show to people what we do differently is to take the time to document what is it that we are going to do, right? And in this case, the context is for marketing the home to find a buyer for the home. And you and I know that it is more, there's more to it, right? There's more to it than just putting it in the MLS and hoping that it's going to sell. So what we do is we write down the kitchen sink. Our property marketing plan, I want to say, is like 10 pages long, and it's got everything from putting a sign in the yard to every other thing that we're going to do. And fact is, you know, some people will read all of it. Some people might read some of it. But anybody who sees it, it resets the expectation of what a real estate professional should be providing them with when it comes to consulting with them to sell their home, right? Like, if you are the first one to provide them with a marketing plan, if they're talking to anybody else, all of a sudden their expectation is reset. So they might ask somebody else, "Hey, where can you send me your marketing plan for my home?"
And that other realtor, they're going to be totally sabotaged and be like, to send you what?
I will, you know, so this is how we do it. But at the same time, we're building a tremendous amount of trust in our competence, in our ability. By showing them what we do, we communicate our value. And now they have specific type of trust, which is in our ability to sell the home, because we're telling them what we're going to do. Right. And I think don't underestimate the power of communicating your value and communicating what you do to your customers. Now, here's the thing. This is a laundry list of things that we're going to do. You don't want to bore the crap out of your client during the listing appointment reading through all of this. This is just why you send it to them in advance. Now, some of you might be saying, aren't you worried about sending out your marketing plan, you know, before you have them as a customer? And Gary, what would you tell a client? What would you tell somebody who's watching this, who's worried about that?
Well, here it's a fundamental shift in thinking, Chris, and in your stance. And I simply don't want to operate out of a place of fear of another realtor using the intellectual property that we built. So I just don't care, because number one, are my clients actually going to hand this out to other realtors? No, but so many realtors have this fear that, oh my gosh, if I put something out there that differentiates myself, it's just going to everybody's going to get it. And then everybody will differentiate themselves. And then we're all the same. That's not what actually happens. Yeah. Your clients aren't going to give this out. And if they do, So what? Is
Yeah,
another
they
realtor
won't
actually
be able
going?
to do it. They're not going to be
No,
able to do the
absolutely.
stuff that we do. And actually, it's
No.
an easy way to add competitive advantage is do a few things that other people aren't going to do, aren't willing to do, or aren't willing to learn how to do. You know,
Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
the fact of the matter is this: 76% of home sellers abandon the agent that they purchased the home with, right? That is an insane amount of people leaving us. So you would normally think that you take great care of a client to get them into a house, that when it comes time to sell the home, that they would contact you. But 76% of the time, that does not happen specifically. And so we've got to be able to stay in touch, and we've got to be able to give them a reason to hire us again. Part of that is them knowing that there is an advantage, right, to them in hiring us to sell their home instead of somebody else. And that property marketing plan is the way we can communicate that. Here's another thing. We talk about finding ways to be able to get more listings and more listing opportunities. Create your property marketing plan and send out to everybody that you know. But here's the context. You can create that property marketing plan and then just let everybody know, hey, I've recently updated my property marketing plan. It's the marketing plan that I use to find buyers for my seller clients' homes. I've recently updated it. And if you know anybody who's thinking of moving in the next year and could benefit from having my marketing plan, please feel free to forward it to them. Now, here's what happens. You're communicating. Even if they there's going to be a portion of the people that you send this out to, or if you're marketing this on social media, a portion of the people that they themselves are going to move, right? And so all of a sudden they're like, well, I was thinking of moving. Click, and now all of a sudden it's like they can't unsee what they've seen. They've seen your property marketing plan, and now they have received and understand what you're going to do differently. And because they are going to refer you and recommend them, if you make it easy for them to do so, you've given them a tool to refer you with. So when they're talking to somebody who says, yeah, we've been thinking of selling home, like, hey, you know what? Gary sent me his property marketing plan. You want me to forward it to you? Oh, yeah, sure. Now, all of a sudden, we've got not only this tool to differentiate ourselves, we've got this recommendation producing tool as well as a repeat customer acquisition tool, right? So very, very beneficial to have something like this. And remember, according to the National Association of Realtors, when it comes to what they want us to do, what do sellers want us to do, the highest prioritized thing that they want us to do is to help the seller to market the home to potential buyers. And that hasn't changed in years, right? That's always the same.
It hasn't. It's the same statistic every year. And so what do, Chris? We address that in this entire marketing plan.
Okay, so moving along, right? And hopefully that's starting to make sense, right? So we've built confidence by sharing some of our advice, whether it's in a written form or in a video form. I prefer video because I feel like that leaves a very indelible impression in the viewer's mind. Another reason why I love video is that 90% of the message is retained, right? 90% of the message is
90%.
Yeah. So 30 days after having viewed a video, 90% of the message is retained as opposed to 10% when they read a message, right? So that's a little stat for you to recall. Another reason why to encourage video. So we had them watch video. We shared with them our property marketing plan, and we're doubling down on both of those things because we want to use that to be able to get clients as well. So we're sending that out. Now's a great time of year for you to send that information out. Hey, I recently updated my marketing plan. Hey, I recently put together some articles or some videos and wanted to share them with you. And so that leads us to the next part, which is the—
By the way, did everybody just hear that huge golden nugget that Chris just dropped on you about getting listing appointments in the first place by sending that marketing plan out to everybody in your database? Did you hear that?
I don't
know. That was huge.
I forgot I mentioned it. Just kidding. I know that because it's something that we care about very importantly and very deeply.
Very much.
Because of the impact that we've had to see. To be honest with you, actually, I'll go back, just kind of closing up that property marketing plan. Where that got created was that what prompted me to update it and really put a lot of effort and energy into it, because we've always had a version of that. But what happened is I went on an expired listing. Actually, we had the seller come to the office, and he was grilling us on what are we going to do, right? He was grilling us on what we're going to do. And I was trying to explain to this gentleman, hey, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. And he was like, put it in writing. I was like, okay.
All right. I got that.
Put it in writing, send it to me, and I'll be back here tomorrow at 10 o'clock. And I was like, whoa, okay.
A little bit of pressure.
So I literally spent like the next 10 hours of my life writing everything into this document, putting it, typing it in. And I sent it to him that evening. And then sure enough, he came in at 10 o'clock into the office the next day. And I remember I was partnering with Carrie. Remember Carrie, who we used to work with?
Yeah.
Gary brought him in the office and he was like, I got a few questions about what you said in your marketing plan. I was like, whoa, he read that thing? I can't believe he read that. And so he's asking me questions. He's like, okay, that's exactly what I wanted to hear. You guys are hired. And I was like, really? And he, I thought he was going to be a difficult person to work with. But as soon as we took the time to communicate our value, he was like, okay, I'm done. And now I washed my hands, get it taken care of. And like after that, everything went perfectly. But that's what prompted me to do it. And I thought, gosh, what if we shared that with everybody to that level of granularity? We always had like more of a high level plan, but it got into the nitty gritty. And I thought, what if we shared that with everybody? And sure enough, like all of a sudden, and as long as we could get that across the table, so as long as we could communicate that, it worked very effectively. So that leads us to this next very, very, very important part of the process is that oftentimes what you're going to find is that we don't have a signed agreement yet. The fact of the matter is, before you go on a listing appointment, you don't have a signed agreement. So they're not exactly a customer yet, but that does not mean you can't treat them like a customer in advance, right? So that they then feel like a customer. And then the natural conclusion is they become a customer, they become a client. So recall that there were four activities, right? We're going to have them watch some videos or read some articles. We're going to have them check out the property marketing plan. The third one is to download your client welcome kit. As a new client, you're entitled to all the benefits my firm offers. They are outlined in your client welcome kit. You'll also find information and resources to help you move. Please feel free to share a copy with people that you know personally. And then there's
read that one more time, Chris, because this is another huge golden nugget.
For finding customers, right?
Feel free to share a copy with people you know personally. Man, everybody pay attention to this. You want to talk about generating some listing leads simply because of the trust you build by sending out a client welcome kit like that? It's awesome.
Let's circle back on referral tools and recommendation tools and equipping our customers with the tools to make it convenient to recommend us, right? So that's a big thing. We're not entitled to their recommendations. We're not entitled to their referrals. We need to earn them along the way. And all we've got to do is make it easy for them. That's all we got to do is make it easy for them. But in this context for a pre-listing packet, what we're trying to do is to show them how to perform as a client, right? We actually borrowed this word onboarding. For any of you who was originally spent some time in corporate America, you've probably, or perhaps you heard of this concept of onboarding, and it's usually referred to as trying to get a new employee to perform quicker, right? And so what we did is we borrowed that idea of onboarding and said, what can we do to get a lead to perform like a client faster? And that's when the client welcome kit was created and involved. And so you might be wondering, well, what does that look like? Well, I'm going to show you what our client welcome kit looks like. So when they click on it, there's a client welcome kit. And to be honest with you, you could put in here whatever you want. I'll show you what we put into ours and maybe kind of reference it. I'm just going to show you some of the slides that are in there. But what I think is very important is just to have something that shows people how to engage with you, have something that shows the advice and the knowledge and how they can benefit from that. And as long as you're doing that, then what you put into your client welcome kit is going to be okay. And I've seen these go like crazy, like where you can actually create some offline components to it as well. But let's take a look what's in here. So obviously, we would just want to have a little bit about us, because remember, this might get shared. Feel free, remember we put in there, feel free to share this with anybody that you know. Well, the person reading this may not know you.
They might not know us. Yeah, might not know us.
So, but then also the person reading this, we also want to write this for the person who does know us a little bit. So we've structured this to be a little bit different. It's more just answering questions about ourselves. And so just an easy format to engage with. And then we've got home buying resources. We want people to know, like, hey, from an educational standpoint, if you're thinking of buying a home, here's some useful information like a current market report, buying power, so on and so forth. And then, of course, we want to mention what the advantages are of working with us to buy a home, and how they can also engage with us if they're thinking of buying a home. And again, this slide or this particular page in the welcome kit is designed for the person who is thinking of selling a home, hasn't communicated with us necessarily that they're going to be buying a home, or for the person that they forward this to, who's thinking of buying a home, right? And so basically we package up the services that we provide, like getting market updates, scheduling private tours, having a buyer hotline, i.e. your cell phone, and getting consultations at no cost, right? That's how we would serve and work with our buyers. And so we just make it an easy way for them to engage us. We also want to talk about the advantages of home selling. We want to share some additional tips and strategies. And some of these can be the same articles, right? The same links, the same references from that were in the earlier part of the pre-listing packet in the confidence links, maybe just add a few more. And then again, a way for them to engage us, a way, in this case, it's a listing appointment, but we package that up as an expert home value analysis, like getting comprehensive pricing assessment of your home's value, tips and recommendations on increasing the resale value, all the things that you would do if you were going to work with them as a seller. Excuse me, as their agent. We let them know we're going to be sending out monthly reports so that they know that we have ongoing communication in the ways that they're going to benefit. We let them know that if they need a referral to, a quality service professional, that we have a professional network that we can refer them to. And at this point, you could put in there anything else that you want to have in there, right? You can put in there, here's what it's going to look like for our appointment's going to look like. You could put in there everything and anything. You could put in there a little quick checklist of here's the things that we're going to do during our appointment. Whatever you feel like is the appropriate thing to put in there, you put it in there, and that is what you include in your client welcome kit. And like I said, with your client welcome kit, you don't have to wait for a listing appointment to create one, update one, and send it out. Right?
Like, this right here, Chris. This is another incredibly valuable tool that we can use to send out once a year and say, hey, everybody in my database, just want to let you know I just updated my client welcome kit. Please take a look. Let me know if you have any questions about the services we provide, and also send this on to anybody else who you know could use it. And it's just a referral tool and a lead generation tool sent out to your database to start building trust. It's incredibly powerful. That's one thing, Chris, that I love, that when you created this, is that as realtors, we're really great at what we do. But to be quite honest, we're not good at communicating our value. And this is a tool that we use to communicate that value. So I don't have to go around there and tout and say how awesome I am. I'm going to use this tool to do that.
Well, and I think so much of getting recommendations, building up word of mouth, getting to be known in your marketplace is making it easier for the people who already know you in some capacity. They don't even have to be a past client, right? But they just know you in some capacity, for them to have a tool to, one, learn more about what you do, right? So, oh, that's right, Gary sells real estate. And then they don't have to read the whole thing. They can just flip through and get an idea of more of what you do. And then, right, a tool where they can, if they encounter somebody who's thinking of moving and they think to themselves, well, this will be helpful for that person, like just giving this document, let alone, it might be a tool to refer you with, but the reason, their motivation for sharing it is because there's useful information in it, right? Not because they're trying to recommend you, but their friend or family member can benefit just from having that information in and of itself. And so that is what we call a recommendation tool or a referral tool. And you want to send those types of things out over the course of the year. Now's a great time to do it, right? For anyone who's thinking of moving in the next few months, now's when they're making their decisions. Now's when they're being influenced. And so use this, send it out. The more quickly you can get this type of stuff into the hands of the people that you know, the more quickly you're going to find those opportunities. 70%, it's like 68, almost like 70% of sellers, you want to know how they find their real estate professional? They either know them or they got recommended to them, right?
70%.
Right, 70%. And then also repeat clients, right? So when it comes to, according to National Association of Realtors, I think it's like actually 68%, almost 70% of folks. What happens is when they go, sellers, when they go to hire their real estate professional, when they go to find a real estate professional, right? First is they either know that person, they either know the agent, or they get recommended to that agent, or they're going to work with them again. And remember, that doesn't happen that often when it comes to sellers, right? It's only 24% of the time do they work with the agent again. They are more likely to work with somebody new that they either know or they've gotten recommended to than work with us again, because we don't take the time to communicate with them regularly. And so
by sending out this valuable information, building trust, building your identity and your reputation as that listing expert agent, you don't have those attrition rates. You don't lose the business like that.
Yeah, and you're just increasing the number of people who you're going to get recommended to. And that's really when it comes down to being that listing expert agent. It's having these types of systems that regularly and effectively communicate your value in the marketplace into the people who are going to be the largest source of business, and doing so on a regular basis. And that's why a system like this and the tools like this are so important if you want to get that type of recognition in your market. So now, moving along with this pre-listing packet process, remember that we said that there were 4 simple activities. We're going to ask them to watch some videos. We're going to ask them to check out our property marketing plan. We're going to ask them to check out our onboarding kit, or excuse me, our onboarding template, or the client welcome kit. The 4th and final one here is the homework for the seller and the call to action, right? So what are we talking about when we're talking about homework? I mean, we're not in grade school anymore, so why would we ask them to do some homework? Well, Gary, I think I'll read this real quick, and maybe you can then explain to them how you came up with this idea and why we want to have them do it. So number 4, homework number 1 is please reply to this email sharing your home's best features, improvements, and selling points. I'll use this to create compelling marketing to attract buyers. And then point number 2 is please reach out to your lender to get the current loan balance. We'll use this info to calculate what you'll net from your home's sale after we assess your home's pricing strategy. If you have any questions prior to employment, please let me know. Chris, and P.S. Check out the property marketing plan I use to attract buyers and sell homes for well above the competition's average performance. And feel free to share it with anybody you know. So homework. Why the heck would you ask them to do homework, Gary?
Well, so there's this concept of time spent, and this principle of time spent says this: if you can get your clients who, before they're clients with you, if you can get any prospective clients to actually do some work for you before your appointment, they have already spent time on your relationship and on moving forward with you. And that's another great way to ethically sabotage your competition, because they don't want to have to do that again with another agent. So if you can get them to do this and get them engaged with the homework, it's just another way that you're setting yourself up for success when you show up to that listing appointment.
Whenever someone is going to this level of engagement, meaning that they've gotten advice from us, they've checked out all of our information, and now we've made a request like, hey, go do this. Hey, do this. When they comply with the request, they are starting to set a pattern of consistency. And what happens, and this is, any of you who are familiar with Robert Cialdini, Dr. Robert Cialdini, and he wrote a book called The Principles of Influence. And one of the principles of influence he found was that people have this innate tendency to have a commitment to consistency. And so they are going to, if they set a pattern, right, they are going to continue to follow the pattern that's been established, that they believe that they've established for themselves. And so here you are asking little things like, hey, just reply to the, actually, if you think about the whole thing, we've asked them real little things: watch these videos, check out this plan, check out this document. Now we're increasing the level of request. We're going from just asking you to check something out to reply to this email, reach out to the lender. And so what happens is we're creating this request and compliance activity so that when we get to the listing appointment, right, we're going to show you how to mirror that and further set up your listing appointment. But what we're setting up is this action, or this pattern where we share advice and they accept the advice. They share the advice. And isn't that what we need to do as professionals? If we're going to get seen as listing expert agents, if we're going to get recognized as experts, we share advice and then people accept the advice. We don't share what their pricing strategy is and them say, no, my home is worth more than that. Right? Like that, if you just led with that, yeah, then you're not setting up this pattern of sharing the advice and having compliance to that advice. And so what we're doing here, again, is just further building on this and having that time spent. They're working already with somebody. Why go hire somebody else if I'm already working with Gary? And notice,
plus, Chris, if they actually do this homework, I mean, I know I'm getting the listing, and I also know that they've seen the videos. So it's what's brilliant about this pre-listing packet email that we send out is that it takes care of all of those precepts that Chris was talking about, and it builds that trust. It builds that identity of you as a listing expert agent, and your reputation is elevated before you even cross the threshold of going to their home. And that is setting yourself up for success. And I got to tell you, the first time you do this, and the first time a client opens the door and says, "Wow, we feel like we already know you," you get this strut going on. You no longer are you cowering and you're nervous at the listing appointment. No, you got this strut going on. You're like, "I got this."
Well,
And
when that happens, you've achieved the status of listing expert agent, right? When that happens consistently, you've achieved that status. You get that recognition. That's what you become known as. And then just before we move on, because we do need to talk about mirroring this in your listing presentation. Like I said, I'm going to show you some slides from Gary's listing presentation. A real quick PS, just saying, hey, check out the property marketing plan, because if they do nothing else, I do want to let them know, like, that's a way I communicate our value that benefits them very specifically. So I just want them to check them out. If they do nothing else, if they're just scanning it, and a lot of times people might just scan something and then check out the PS, that's all they did, right? And then we've accomplished.
Well, and you often say, Chris, there are the two most important parts to any email are the subject line and the PS, because people will see the subject line and then they'll go down to the PS and read that first. And then if they're so enticed, then they'll go back and read the whole email.
Yeah. So that is the pre-listing packet process and the template, the 5-part pre-listing packet.
I'm going to ask a question, Chris.
Yes.
I'm just going to publish a poll as you get into this. I'm going to ask everybody here of, if you've been on a listing appointment, do you just wing your listing appointment or do you have a detailed structure? I actually put a poll up because I want to know.
Okay. Well, so very important here that we start to that we know in advance. The last thing you want to do is show up to a listing appointment. Your pre-listing pack process has done all this hard work. The last thing you want to do is throw that away. I mean, that would be such a shame. Here you are trying to build up your reputation as being a listing expert agent, getting known in your marketplace. And then when the rubber meets the road, i.e. when you show up on the appointment, you kind of flush down the toilet all the work that pre-listing packet did for you. And so that is why mirroring in your listing presentation, and I say listing presentation as in like we have pages or slides. Gary uses his iPad, right? He has an actual digital listing presentation and there's like some 20 some slides in it, and he uses it to guide his listing appointment process so that nothing gets skipped. Every important factor gets hit on. And then we start to build on those promises. We refer back to some of the things that we've talked about. And then we want to make sure that it leads to the natural conclusion of a few things. One is we've solidified our position as that listing expert agent, not only in their mind for that moment in time when they go to hire us, but also for everybody and anybody that they encounter that they say, yeah, we are selling our home. Oh, you need to work with Gary because he's a listing expert agent, because he's really great, because of all these things. We must make sure that we validate, that we confirm, that we affirm everything that we've made claims to when we're sitting down with them, right? At the kitchen table or wherever you are in the process. And so, Gary, how many folks are winging it and how many folks have got a little bit of structure to what they're doing?
Well, about 60% say they have some structure, but somebody else said, Don was like, I have a plan, but it is not this detailed. And so, yeah, we get it. And that's why you got to have this plan in place. You got to have all of these tools and follow up with a really powerful listing presentation. Because like Chris said, if you just show up and wing your listing appointment, then all the trust you built up, they start going, wait a minute, this is not consistent with the email they just sent me.
Yeah. So, I mean, very important. And we don't have, unfortunately, enough time to go through all of the slides. I'm just going to highlight a few things. This is one of the slides where, Gary, you communicate what's in it for them, right? It's just a really bold claim. Here's how we outperform the market, and we let them know how we compare to the market averages.
Yeah,
and,
we know that they want to know two things: how fast you can sell my house and for how much. And we don't just talk about that. We actually talk about how we outperform everybody else, like an average realtor, how we outperform the market with our statistics versus the average realtor.
And so what happens is what we're doing specifically with this slide is we're setting up the reference to the property marketing plan that we shared in that pre-listing packet. So what we need to do here, you think about what's happening, is we're making a bold claim. I outperform the market, right? Mm-hmm. My firm, right? So for those of you, by the way, these aren't Gary's numbers. These are the firm's numbers. So our firm, our team outperforms the market in this way.
Or your brokerage.
Whatever it is, right? So my firm outperforms the market in this way, or I do. And what you're doing is, by making this claim, automatically the recipient's saying, well, how? Right? They might not say how, but they're left with, really? That's a bold claim.
Of course, they're asking how in their head. And so, what do we need to do, Chris? We need to
them know.
show them this is exactly how we outperform the marketplace. This is where you can reference back to your marketing plan and say, you remember in that marketing plan I sent you? Well, this is where we're going to have our launch campaign. And we share with them and talk to them about that.
So I just grabbed screenshots from the actual marketing that we do, right? So this was some real listings. I just grabbed some screenshots and I walk them through and talk them through the property marketing plan, right? And this is the point when we explain to them what was in there. And you can refer at this point, if you see that it, like Gary, you see it, it's printed out. It's kind of like, hey, I just got to touch on this and see, did you have any questions about what was in that plan? It's very important. Like we talked about, we're mirroring in our listing presentation the information that we shared. So we're creating ourselves a context to call back to that information, reinforce, reemphasize what we do differently. Okay. And
Yep.
Gary, how often do they have a question about the marketing at this point? Are they just
At this point, they don't. At this point, they're like, yeah, oh, thanks for reminding me. I remember reading that in your marketing plan. They don't have questions at this point. It's just verification.
So, here's what happens is that you've gone through this, and at this point, you're going to get the agreement. You're going to get that listing agreement. You're going to get them as a client. You're going to have solidified your position as a listing expert agent, and you're going to get their referrals, right? And so this is a whole step-by-step process that we've just shared with you guys. And at this point, I'm sure I haven't been paying attention to the chat because I've been really trying to just focus on the presentation itself today, Gary. But I'm sure people have been asking, hey, how do I get a copy of that template?
We've got dozens of questions saying, how do I get that?
I'm going to make for you guys a special offer or a special invitation. The templates that I'm referring to, because I want to be able to give you these templates as a gift, as a special offer, right? So the templates that I'm referring to is Gary's listing presentation template. I didn't get to show all of the slides from his listing presentation template. I only was able to show 3 or 4 out of the 20 some that are in there. But this is an actual keynote. It's a PowerPoint. You can download it. You can change the branding, make it your own, and use this for your own listing appointments, this listing presentation. And I'm also talking about the client welcome kit, right? So these are the 2 templates that we're giving away today. The client welcome kit template, again, it's also in PowerPoint keynote. You download it, you make it your own, and you start using it in your pre-listing packet, or heck, modify it, put your mug on there and start sending it out to everybody that you know right now to start cultivating those listing opportunities. Well, you can get both of these templates for free when you join our marketing club, right? So we're going to give you these templates as a gift when you join our marketing club. We created our club to help you stand out and get recognized for your expertise using tools, technology, and marketing, just like we shared with you guys today, right? But our club is designed to help you implement this, designed to give you the tools and equipment that you need to be able to execute this. Here's some of the reports that we've had some of our members share with us. Cynthia says that Paperless Agent's incredible. I've been a member since 2015. If you're new to real estate, save yourself money and time and go no further. Paperless Agent's the most valuable real estate and resource hands down. Thank you, Cynthia. Lisa reports to us, when I was a brand new agent in 2013, I discovered the Paperless Agent, and they are the best. I credit much of my 6-figure success to them. Well, thank you for that report, Lisa. So our club is designed to do a handful of things for you, and it's designed to do them really well. The first is to be able to get you clients on demand, get you consistent, predictable income, give you systems to replicate leads and save time, get you recognized for your great service, and ultimately have clients place a premium on your expertise, meaning that they recognize you as that listing expert agent. Okay. Here's what Teresa says. I just want to say a huge thank you to the Paperless team. Thanks, Gary, Jordan, Chris, and the whole team. Behind the scenes, we actually tripled our income. We tripled our income. We sold over $9 million, all because we followed the Paperless Agent plan. Now, you might be wondering, what plan was Teresa following that produced such great results? Well, it's our club's 5-step career acceleration plan. And let me just walk through this really quickly so that you understand the plan that we give you as you become a member of our club. Number one, we're going to help you create and have a powerful online presence. Number two, we're going to show you and give you the resources and tools that you need to market to your base so that you can have a steady stream of opportunities, of listing opportunities. We're going to then part three, or step three, is to ace every listing appointment and really start cultivating a listing business. Step four is to scale and replicate leads on demand so that you're able to do that consistently and predictably. And then step five is to put your practice on autopilot. And that's the plan that we provide you with. And then in order to help you implement that plan, we provide you with the following tools, the following features and resources. First off is every single month, we're going to give you new training topics. We're going to give you the knowledge and skills that you need so that you can get more listings, so that you can implement marketing more effectively and get better results, so that you know how to use tools like social media, so that you have tools for productivity, so that you can get a better result. So we provide training every single month. You don't have to attend every training, right? In fact, we record all of them and we put them into a library so that you can do it on demand or just in time as you need it. But we provide this on a regular basis just so that you know, so that you can stay in touch and have a very good training program for the entire year should you need it. The other thing we're going to do, and this is a big deal, is that we're going to give you marketing materials every single month. We're going to give you blog posts, marketing emails, social media posts, marketing and ad templates, basically everything that you're going to need to produce consistent business, to produce consistent listing opportunities. We're going to give you the marketing for every month. You download it, you send it out, and yeah, it works very effectively. In fact, Teresa shares with us, based on the marketing materials that we provided her with, she says, thanks, and she posted this in our private Facebook group. She said, thanks again for another great campaign. I just sent the email to my contacts, had a great open rate, but not only that, within 20 minutes of sending it, received a listing appointment request. And you know, that is music to my ears when our marketing, the tools that we provide, the email is just one component. We provide social media images, we provide social media graphics, we provide everything that you need to market, we provide. And boy, does it work. In fact, we're even going to give you a Google-friendly marketing website so that you always look good online. This is part of building that powerful online presence. We post a blog on your behalf every single month, and it's connected to that marketing materials that we provide you with so that you're able to do it all day, every day. You look good in your hat, and you can implement the marketing campaigns more easily and more effectively. You can even market listings with the property landing pages that we offer, as well as have use the lead generation landing page features that are included with the website that we provide you with. And so, you know, a cool thing is, even if you already have a website, that's okay, because it's just another place for people to be able to find you and make it easier for your customers and leads to find you with. We also have our resource library, and so you'll be able to access hundreds of tools, hundreds of implementation plans and strategies and tutorials and how-tos to be able to implement the things that we're sharing with you. Teresa says, a few more reports here. You guys have made me a rock star. I've been in the business since 1992 and never had a plan that I could faithfully follow that works. Can't thank you enough and love the new book. Todd says, I've been an agent 20 years. Nothing else compares to what you guys provide. If an agent can't use your resource to make it happen for them, they need to go do something else. And so, you know, those are just some of the reports that we hear back from our clients. Here's the deal. You would spend literally hundreds of dollars every month getting each one of these features from other firms, whether it's marketing materials, whether it's the website, whether it's training. Each one of those things would cost hundreds of dollars collectively to be able to get them. But you can join our club and get all of those features for only $67 a month. That's right. You get all of that plus those special gifts that I offered for only $67 a month. Here's the deal. You can easily cancel, hassle-free, no questions asked. There's no contract. There's no commitment. You know, Tracy reports back to us, this resource, and she's referring to our club, is so chock full at the crazy best price, no hidden fees. Invest in yourself and your business now. Don't wait. Over my 8 years, wasted a lot of money elsewhere. My best investment to date. And here's the deal. When you sign up right now, when you sign up with us right now, I'm going to throw in a third extra special bonus gift. It is that property marketing plan that we utilized throughout that pre-listing packet template so that you can show your listing prospects how you stand out in the market as a listing expert agent. I've included this. It's It's a pages as well as a Microsoft Word document that you can edit and make your own. It's a great starting point if you've got nothing and you want to be able to start offering something from a property marketing plan. This is a great place to get a jump start, so that you don't have to spend the next week or so trying to put this together, but you can download it, refine it, make it yours, and start putting it to work today. And so when you join our club, you're going to get Gary's listing presentation templates, you're going to get our client welcome kit templates, and you're going to get our property marketing plan template, all when you join the club for just $67 today.
So what I did, Chris, is I just launched over in the chat section. There's this blue button. It says join club now. So what you want to do is you want to click on that. It's going to take you to the order form. You'll just simply fill out that order form. And when you do, you're instantly going to receive an email from us with your login credentials. And so you'll be able to log in. You can download those listing presentation templates, customize them today. You can download that client welcome kit template, customize it for you today, and that property marketing plan. And you get it all today. So go sign up. You can download it. You can start using it tomorrow. Heck, you could, I'd recommend sending out that client welcome kit template and the property marketing plan template to everybody in your database immediately. So I would go do that immediately. Yes, Ania says it's not working. So we'll make sure that that you get that link. And then Chris, I have a lot of questions here. I know we want to talk a little bit more about our listing presentation. Maybe we can take everybody through that, but I have a few questions we've got to address first.
Sure.
Number one, Helen says, does this work in California as well? Well, it works in California. It works in Canada. Heck, it works in South Africa. We've got clients in South Africa. We've got them all over the world. So absolutely, this works in California. This works in Canada. This works everywhere. So a lot of people are saying they cannot get that link to work. So here's what I'm going to do.
There's probably a lot of folks perhaps clicking on that link at the same time.
Yeah.
And when that happens, it does take a little bit to load sometimes. So guys, when you click on it, and maybe you can just copy and paste the direct link, Gary, into the chat.
Yeah, I had done that, and they're right, Chris. It's just cycling. So maybe you want to get Elliot on that.
Hold on a second. Let me talk to Emma while I answer them.
Got it, everybody. It's not working, and I think we're just getting pounded with registration. So give us a second. We're going to get you a new link. All right. So just pulled up for me, everybody. So give it a little bit of time, and I'm going to put this link into the chat section there. Go click on that link. Sandra said the direct link works. Greg said it's slow, but it opens, and I think it's just simply because we still have 600 people on here. At a time, we had over 1,000 people on this webinar. So give it a little bit of time. It'll cycle through and get started. Jack says it works fine for me. And Adora Bill said just signed up. So
Gary,
all set there.
There's just probably a few folks hitting it at the same time. And so our order processing is just taking a little bit of time to load. But guys, give it a second, refresh it. It is pulling up. You just got to give it a moment to load. And what we'll do is we'll hang out here and we'll answer questions and answer as many of them as we can. And it'll start to load here once we get a few of the folks working through the order form process.
Craig signed up and is already logged into the dashboard. Nice. Okay, Christine says, is there a contract to the subscription? Is it annual or just month to month? It's a monthly subscription, Christine, and you can cancel at any time. We don't want to lock you into a contract and keep you on for a year. Heck no. We want you to be able to be free to come and go and use everything as you see fit.
Our goal is to make this affordable and accessible. And we know that if we try to lock you into some kind of term, that it makes it not as accessible. Fact is, the more of us that are out there representing ourselves as listing expert agents, the better it is for all of us, right? Because all of a sudden we elevate the perception of what we do in the mind of the consumer, and we all win when we do that.
I've got probably half a dozen people asking when they sign up, how do they download these resources? I've got Bruce and Arnie and Tina. And Tina is asking, is it editable? So if you want to just address, how do they get this?
You're going to get an email with login credentials to our member site. When you go to the member site, you're going to find that all of these bonus gifts are going to show up as little cards on your membership website. So you'll just click on the property marketing plan, for example. You'll click on the client welcome kit, or you'll click on Gary's listing presentation. It's all in there. And then they are in a modifiable like format, right? So for the listing presentation, that's in Keynote. That is in also PowerPoint. And then same thing with the client welcome kit. And then the property marketing plan is in Microsoft Word, but it's also in Apple Pages. So cross-platform compatible so that you'll be able to download it. And yes, you do want to customize it. You do want to make it your own. And we've tried to make it super easy for you to do so. Instead of you having to recreate the templates, they are literally the editable documents that you can use to delete our images, change the text, do what you want. They are yours for you to use for your purposes. And so it should be quite easy once you get in there. We're all pretty familiar, with most of those types of apps, whether it's Microsoft Word, whatever the case may be. And so that if you're familiar with Word, you're familiar with PowerPoint, you're good to go.
Sherry Bush, I got to share this with you, Chris. Sherry says, I just joined and logged on, exploring all the new tools at my fingertips. Thanks so much. I love it.
Hey.
I love it that people are jumping on already.
Oh, you know what? I'm excited. I'm excited because you know what? There's some good, I think you're going to find that there's some good stuff in there. I want you to download these templates. I want you to put this in place. Ultimately, right? Here's what my hope is. My hope is that you're going to explore some of the other resources there. My hope is that you're going to put to use the marketing materials that we provide you with. My hope is that you're going to utilize that website that we provide, because I know, based on the reports that we have from our other members, that when they use these tools, good things happen for them. Good things like I get more opportunities. Good things like I get more listings. Good things like I actually don't have to negotiate my fees anymore because people place a premium on it, my expertise, right? Those are the good things that we want to have happen to you. So the more, and now's the time of year to do it, right? Now's the time. It's a new time frame, a new season for us to just get in there and start putting this to work.
So Chris, I've got some more questions before we get to that listing presentation. All right. Gotcha. So number one, Marcos and somebody else, I can't find, there's a lot of questions here, but at least two people had clarification questions about our website. Marcos just basically says, is the website an additional product and cost later?
Oh, no, it's all included. For the $67, you're getting marketing materials every month, new marketing materials. You're getting a website, of which we post a blog every single month. So it always looks good. It's always up to date. It's always real estate relevant. It always positions you as an expert, right? Plus you get access to that training library. All of those things are included. There's no additional fees. There's no additional cost. There's no hidden fees. There's no hidden fees. It's just $67 a month.
Kim says, I've been struggling with motivation since the first of the year. Not now. Thanks, guys. Oh. I love that. So get in there, Kim. Oh, Chris, there was a great question here that I think Kim will actually benefit from too as well. And somebody said, here it is. Don Hicks said, I just signed up. Are there opportunities for all the members to talk and share, etc.?
Oh, so yeah, absolutely.
What would be the best place for them to do that?
So all of you will have access to our private Facebook group. It is all of our members, and it's a community of folks who are just like you, me, and Gary, who are just trying to figure out what's the best way to grow our real estate practices, what's the best way to keep each other motivated, what's the best way for us to accomplish these things. And here's the thing that I have found. One of my number one sources of inspiration, you talk about being motivated. One of my number one sources of inspiration to be able to try something new, try something different, implement something and improve my level of implementation is going into that private Facebook group, reading and interacting with our members and with our peers. Because the fact of the matter is, Gary and I, we get to do a lot. We get to experience, because we work together. That means we get to do a lot of specialization, which means it affords us the ability to be able to take what we're learning and what we do and share that with you guys. But the fact of the matter is, there's folks out there who are smarter, more like just awesome out there rocking it. And we get to learn from them as well. And you get to learn from them as well. And so I find that, learning something new, getting a skill, acquiring a skill, or getting some new knowledge that I didn't have before, a lot of times from that private Facebook group or even in the trainings that we provide, that's where the motivation comes from, right? It's having something excited, you're excited to go do, as well as the knowledge. Now you've got the competence, the ability to go do so. You've got a game plan. Now you're ready to hit the races. And I'm excited for you because now you've got the knowledge and you're going to increase your knowledge. You've got a game plan to follow. And now you just got to take action on it, which I know you're going to do.
I am answering a lot of people's questions. A lot of people, Chris, signed up and did not receive an email from our system. So if you're in that ballpark, and I think that was
I think we might have
Sanine
broken.
did that. Yeah, we might have broken the system here.
Don't worry,
But
everything's
no,
in there. But
yeah.
yes, if we got the email could go to spam or it could go to promotions tab, right?
Yeah.
The email might take 5 or 10 minutes if there's a lot of people signing up at once, right? There's sometimes it takes a little bit to render, but it should go in there. If you don't see it though, you got to message us. You can always email us at support@thepaperlessagent.com. Give us a little bit of time. We've got our team here. Emma, come over here for a second. So I've got our team. I have Emma, who's just one of our team members, but we have more team members there. Say hello to Emma.
Hi, y'all.
She's working on answering all of those questions for you just as quickly as she can, but please have some grace. Give her some time to be able to respond, and she will answer your question.
I will get to you for sure.
Yeah,
So-
it seems like the system's working really well. Susan just signed up and got the email, but it took a few minutes. And so that's probably what's going on, Chris. Thanks for the clarification on why it might be taking a little bit of time. Let's see. Next questions that we have here is, what if I'm brand new and I have limited referrals or people in my database? What do you recommend? What would you recommend, Chris?
So I would recommend I mean, here's the thing. In the first few reports that I shared one was from Lisa, and she had said that, she credited much of her 6-figure income to the things that she learned from us. And the fact of the matter is, if you're brand new to real estate, you still have a network of people that you know. And the fact of the matter is, you can still go out and start grow that intentionally. But what we need to do, that's one of the beautiful things about real estate is that you have an existing network of people that you've been connected to with your life leading up to this very moment. It reminds me of Barrett, one of the folks that you worked with, Gary, who was a teacher, and he decided he was going to get into real estate. And basically, for the first 2 years of his business was funded from all of the contacts and connections that he had leading up to that point. And so you've got people.
By the way, Chris, he came to me one time and he goes, "What do I need to do to be successful? Because I'm coming out of teaching. I'm scared. I've got a wife. I've got 3 kiddos. What do I need to do?" And I said, "Do everything that we tell you to do at Paperless Agent and you'll be good." You know how much he closed his first year? Just shy of $6.5 million in production his first year. Yeah. And I just saw a report that I think this past year he did over 15 million. So here's the thing, guys. If you just follow the system, get in there and do what we're sharing, it works.
I mean, I think that's where the career acceleration plan, the 5-step career acceleration plan,
exactly,
where and how it's so relevant. And recall that it's first step 1, build a powerful online presence. Step 2 is to market to your base, right? Step 3 is to ace every listing opportunity and every listing appointment, right? Step 4 is to scale and replicate leads on demand. And then step 5 was to put your practice on autopilot. And so when you follow that, right, granted, you can't do that in a day. That's creates for you a roadmap or a blueprint or a map for you to be able to follow as you build on your career. It's also a great point because if you've been selling real estate, to be able to review it and see where can I close up some of the gaps, maybe some of the things I skipped over, or maybe some of the things that I want to revisit and do a higher quality level of implementation on. But the fact of the matter is, that's how you build your career. Whether you're new or whether you've been doing this for a while, you just need to have a good game plan. You need a few tools and resources to make it easier for you to do it, and then you just get after it. And I think that with the game plan that we have for you, and you'll see, you just follow that career acceleration program, you're going to have a great blueprint for you to have some success.
Chris, not to mention, it's not just following that game plan, but also communicating, your successes or your struggles or, new ideas in that private Facebook group with this community of like-minded real estate professionals. I don't remember who it was who said that they were struggling with motivation since the beginning of the year. But when you have a community, was it Kim?
I think so.
Yeah. When you have a community, you don't struggle like that anymore. It's not like it's so much heavy lifting anymore. It just becomes easier and it's so much better. Chris, I couldn't sleep last night, right? So I was awake at about 3:30 and I'm like, I do what everybody else does. I hop on Facebook, right? And so notifications show up from our private Facebook group, and I'm in there interacting. Why? Because people are in there communicating. They're working at all kind of odd hours. And by the way, there are people from all over the world in this membership that you get to communicate with, you get to mastermind with, you get to share and grow with, and hold each other accountable.
Networks with.
And develop referral networks. That's incredible because, my gosh, I think just in a few months' time, I sent or received 10 referrals through our private Facebook group. And by the way, Gio Jimenez says, what's the private Facebook group name? Gio, when you join the club and you log in the very first time onto your dashboard, you're going to see, hey, here's what you need to do first. By the way, click here and go join our private Facebook group. So that's where you're going to find that. Okay. Sorry, I have no idea what the question was that we just answered, but it must have been a good one because I think we gave some good answers there. And by the way, for everybody who is still here, I mean, we're going to go through a lot of questions here.
Should I share the slides from your listing appointment, or should we hit another question?
Let's hit a couple more questions and then let's hop into that.
Okay.
Kathy says, I use a Mac. I need to know if there's a difference in programs on the computer I would need to use versus on a PC. Absolutely not. We give you the templates so you can use it with either Mac or a PC. So Don't worry about that, Kathy. You're fine. Marco says, excited to assist more clients. Just joined. Woohoo. And with that, I'm going to ask them, do you guys want to see the full listing presentation? I mean, if you don't want to see it, we're cool. We'll just keep answering questions.
But if you want to see
answering questions, but if you want to see the full listing presentation, we can go through it and show you how we talk about it. And so go to the chat section and let us know, and what you guys want to see. Gio also says, how do you find listings without using FSBO or door knocking? Chris, I haven't knocked on a door. I think since the police chased me out of that private neighborhood I told you about.
So the first thing you got to, was that Marco who asked that question?
Yeah, it's Marco.
Marco. So one of the first things you want to do,
Marcus. Yeah.
Marcus. One of the first things you want to do is recognize where do listings come from. There are actual sources of business. There are sources of listings. There are sources of buyer clients. And when you understand what those sources are, you can immediately start to redirect where you're going to focus your effort, your energy. And the fact of the matter is, that personal contact after like chasing after expired listings, or, even buying online leads, it's such a small percentage. I want to say like purchasing, people always think, well, maybe I should buy leads. Maybe I should buy seller leads. Like the online leads are only 4% of the total slice of the pie.
4%. Chris, why in the world? What's that called? Stepping over dollars to pick up dimes or something like that?
Fact is like, that, 60.
You're missing out.
68% of sellers come from specifically, right? They either already know you, they got recommended to you, or they've worked with you in the past. Like that's the lion's share. When a seller decides, hey, I'm going to sell my house, that's how they decide and how they find their real estate professional according to the National Association of Realtors. And the fact of the matter is, getting a seller client is very different than getting a buyer client, right? Because there's so much emphasis on reputation. And the fact is, you can, even with buyer leads, again, like 70% of buyers come through those same sources, but I think instead of like 4% from websites, there's like 10% that come from like those home search sites and stuff like that. So yeah, you could buy those leads, but I would exhaust the 70% first before I went chasing after that. And the fact of the matter is, when you understand that the source of business comes from people that already know me, or people who are going to get recommended to me, or people who've worked with me in the past, now all of a sudden you can reorganize your marketing efforts to focus on those folks, right? And so that's why I shared with you today easy ways for you to engage those very same people. Your contacts and your connections are the source of that opportunity to engage them, provide them with value, to establish yourself as that listing expert agent so that it's easy for them to respond and say, Gary, I've been meaning to talk to you. In fact, what we do is we give you marketing materials every single month, and what they're designed to do is follow a 5-step process. Okay. So the first step that you're going to do is, well, we do it for you. We publish that blog post that's on your website. Okay. And every month the topic changes. This month it's on the national housing market snapshot. And so, you're going to publish a blog post. You're going to always be publishing useful real estate information. Then step 2, what you're going to do is you're going to send an email out to everybody that you have an email address for. And we're going to give you the email to send out. So you don't have to worry about like coming up with an email. We're going to give you the email. You just got to copy and paste the link to the blog, to the website that we provide, and put that in the email and send that out. And then step 3, what you're going to do is you're going to go to social media, right? And you're going to record like a really short video, just letting them know about the information. We're going to give you a script for that video. And then step 4, you're going to publish the information on social media. We're going to give you the images and the content, the actual copy to put into social media, whether it's Facebook or Instagram or whatever ones that you're using. And then step 5, you're going to use simple tools like Facebook Messenger to be able to reach out to everybody that you know and follow up and just see what's going on in their life. And what's going to happen, you do that on a consistent basis, you will have, what you're going to find is that the 68%, all those prospective sellers that are coming from your contacts and connections, what's going to happen is as you do that interaction, you're going to be building reputation, but even more, you're going to be creating a sense of awareness of who you are and what you do. See, we achieve marketing awareness in real estate when the following happens. When your prospects, when people who know you, people in your sphere of influence, people in your market, people who know those people, when they think of you, they think of real estate. And when they think of real estate, they think of you, right? That's when we've achieved marketing and awareness, is when they think of real estate, they think of you. And when they think of you, they think of real estate. Real estate and us become synonymous with each other, if that makes sense. So when we've achieved that awareness, right, as they see anything real estate related in their life, bang, they think of us. Or if they see any communication happening from us, they think of real estate. And so if they've had a real estate need themselves, they're going immediately to say, Gary, I've been meaning to talk to you, right? So we're communicating regularly through social media, through messaging, through email, so that we are earning, right, and making it easier for them to engage us should they have a question about real estate. The other thing that we're doing is if they've got a recommendation, or again, making it easier for them to say, hey, I've been meaning to reach out. Hey, you know what, so-and-so, I was talking to so-and-so and they're looking to sell their home, right? And that's how the lion's share of the business, and anyone who's been selling real estate for an extended period of time can attest to the fact that that is where it's the best type of client to work with. The easiest one to gather if you've got the system in place, and we're giving you all the tools to implement the system, and it makes life a lot easier than, chasing after the expireds, chasing after the FSBOs, chasing after those, because the last thing they really want to do is to talk to you. I mean, come on, let's face it. The last thing you want to do is to be calling people using some of those platforms where you just call, because and you have seen the diminishing effect of trying to do outbound contact to people that you don't know, using a strategy where robo-dialers and robo-spammers are making it really hard for anybody just to pick up the phone these days. So that's the strategy that we equip you with, the tools and materials to implement, and why we give you that marketing materials every month. If you to go back to the 5-step process, the career acceleration plan, it's step 2. We call it marketing to your base, right? And so we give you all of that. And hopefully, you picked up a tip on how to improve the systems that you have for everybody here who's on that, not just Marcus, who wants more opportunity from the contacts and connections that they have. I mean, statistically speaking, right? 10%. At least 10% of the people that you are connected to are going to move in the next year, right? And then there's certain demographics that it's much higher, right? So the people, like, for example, in their 30s and 40s, it's going to be every several years instead of like that 10% number. So you're going to, within those pockets, have higher turnover in homes. And so the key is for us to be there and be ready to capture that, but then also gather their referrals, gather their recommendations, turn our entire list of contacts, connections, people that we're connected to, people that we know of, turn them into ambassadors, into advocates for our business, so that when they encounter anybody who says, hey, I've been thinking of moving, they're like, hey, you know what, let me send you Gary's client welcome kit. Hey, you know what, let me share with you his property marketing plan, because I think you'll benefit from having that. We just make it.
Yeah, it's just giving people the right tools to send you business. It's like, it's business 101, but in real estate, I think, Chris, that we do a great job for our clients, and then we just expect them to refer us. We expect them to remember us, and that's not fair. That's putting way too much responsibility in our job on our clients. So we got to make sure that we don't do that.
I would say that it's an unfair expectation, but it's not based on their willingness to do so.
No, they'll do it.
Time and erosion of the memory of experience cause that to happen, right? So yes, like, and they've done reports where National Association of Realtors will ask, people how likely are they to work with that person again? And it's something like 80% of clients say they will work with that agent again, and yet it's only 24% when it comes to sellers.
And it's we're not top of mind, Chris. Katrina, I love this. If anyone is debating buying this program, do it. I'm logged on now, and there are so many good templates and info. Make the plunge. Thank you so much. And a question from Marcos. Actually, you know what, Chris? A lot of people do want to see that listing presentation.
Okay.
Let's answer Marcos's question, because I just said it and I didn't want to say it and then take it back.
Okay.
Past clients are asking in our market how Zillow, Open Door, Redfin, like discount broker companies are gaining momentum to find buyers. Do you have any tools or marketing material that addresses that to give us an edge against these discounted brokers? So here's the thing. In that community, in our Facebook group, there's a gentleman named Mark Phillips in Phoenix. And he's in the Phoenix area, and he's combating all of these iBuyers. And Chris, there was somebody else who you interviewed.
Yeah, Randy Lewis. We did a whole member training on Randy Lewis. So here's what it comes down to, is that those companies, you know what they're really good at? They're good at communicating their value proposition. They are really good at it, meaning that they've carved out a specific message on how that consumer is going to benefit, and they are really good at communicating it. And that is, for us, and that's where we're a little bit weaker, is we don't have, we're not as natural, or we don't have the skill yet to be able to communicate our value. But the fact of the matter is, we all have the opportunity to create distinctive value. What I mean by that is different than what those companies have to offer. And it's so distinctive that it is superior than what those companies have to offer. I guarantee you it's superior. You can make it superior than to what they have to offer. And the fact of the matter is, especially with seller clients, is that they don't want to work with somebody or something that they don't trust, right? It seems strange to them. They would much rather work with us, but we've got to give them a reason why. They in their mind, and we have to be proactive at showing them why they should hire us instead of one of those guys. And it's simple when you've got a system in place, when you've got the tools in place. Something as simple as a property marketing plan all of a sudden demonstrates to your clients, to those folks in those marketplaces, here's what I do differently. Here's what I'm going to do, right? And so that's just the starting point, being able to do that. But gosh, even with you sharing your expertise and advice, like we do in the first part, in the confidence links of the pre-listing packet, like I said, we do it through video. We do it through video because it's easy, right? It's easy to consume. It builds up this sense of respect and authority that they have for us. But here's another hidden little byproduct of it all. When people watch videos, is that we build an affinity for the people that we're watching the video with, right? And so what happens, just like today, we've established a connection, right? We have this chat feature, we have this video experience going on, and together, me, you, Gary, we're all like creating rapport with each other. And there's some affinity being developed. I mean, heck, for those of you who are still here after an hour and a half of listening to Gary, you must like him a little bit at least, right?
Wow.
So, that's what happens. And that, just by the way, building an affinity, building liking is a way, that's actually an advantage, a distinct advantage that you could offer, is that they like me more than the other person, right? I mean, it might seem like a strange one, but again, going back to that Dr. Cialdini, one of the principles was this concept of liking. If people like you, they're going to work with you. They're more likely to work with you. And
is he the one who did the know, like, and trust?
Cialdini, he's got the 6 principles of influence.
I think he talked about taking people through the process, and first they gotta know you first, and then they gotta like you, and then like what you do over time is you build trust. But the wonderful thing about all of these templates and all of these tools is that accelerates that entire thing. It's so much faster than spending years and years building those relationships.
Yes.
Andrew says, where do we find these templates? Andrew, they will be on your dashboard when you log in.
Yeah, so when you log in, we actually just updated the website to make it easier to find stuff and to be able to access it. You can also, there's a little search feature that you can search for listing presentation, search for client welcome kit. So you can even run searches for it if you can't, if it's not readily available or noticeable to you. And then again, you can always email us and we'll try and point you in the right direction. I think though that if you do a little bit of searching, I would, what I encourage people to do with something like this is spend 20 minutes today just kind of surfing around, seeing what you've just invested in. You're going to find that your return on investment is way, way, way higher than you probably originally anticipated, just with the sheer amount of tools that we want to provide you with. Things like the listing presentation, things like Gary's listing presentation, you're going to find in there is worth way more than the $67 that you.
Oh my goodness!
In fact,
I think
I'm
Chris.
just gonna,
By the way, Sandy, sorry. Yes, we're going to show you the listing presentation right now. If you have not signed up for our club, go do it right now. Oh, sorry, it expired over there, Chris. I'm going to relaunch this offer, but I'm going to encourage everybody here to go sign up right now while we go through this listing presentation so that you can have access to all of these bonuses that we're giving away. So
I'm just scrolling through it right now, by the way, Gary,
okay.
as you're talking and stuff, I'm just scrolling through the slides from the listing presentation. And then at a certain point, if you want to hit on a specific one, just let me know.
Yeah, so what we're doing here, like Chris said earlier, is we're validating everything that we've sent them in that email. Oh, stop here.
Okay.
Okay, so this is like if I had one slide, if I had 5 minutes on a listing presentation, which of course it's unreasonable, but if I only have 5 minutes to convince somebody of why they should work with us, this is the slide. And let me explain to you why this is like Chris started. One of those precepts to getting a listing is that we need people to trust us. They hire us based on a reputation and trust. And so what we need to do is we need to show them what's in it for them when they hire us. Because, Chris, I think one major breakdown and kind of problem that I see with a lot of realtors when I watch them do listing appointments and presentations is they just talk about how awesome they are and about their reputation. So it's like I'm just talking about how good I am. But that's fine, but you actually have to switch it and talk about what's in it for them. Like, why is me being so awesome a good thing for you?
It's got to be translated into value to me as the customer. You saying how great you are is not translated into how I benefit yet.
That's right. So let's talk about this one, Chris. Do you want to role play with me real quick?
Oh, certainly.
Okay. So I want everybody to really pay attention to every single word. I'm going to speak slowly, but I want you to pay attention to every single word that I say because there's a reason I say it exactly the way I do.
Okay.
So I always start out like this. So Chris, do you like statistics?
They don't lie.
They don't lie. You know what? I like statistics too. And I like these statistics specifically because it always helps me know how well I'm outperforming the market for my clients like you. So if you don't mind, let's take a look at these two statistics. Number one, Chris, were you aware that in Austin right now, if you hire an average realtor, on average, a house is selling in 48 days. Now I can tell you that's not bad. That's not bad at all. That's a good seller's market. However, when you hire us at Krath Partners, we're selling our homes in half the amount of time in 24 days. Now that's a lot faster, isn't it?
It is.
It is. So let's take a look at this second statistic. If you hire an average realtor in Austin right now, they're going to sell your house for about 98.25% of your asking price. Now, after selling real estate for 23 years, I can assure you that's a solid statistic. And when you hire us at Krath Partners, on average, we're selling our listings for 101.7% of ask price. Now, Chris, I'll just calculate that. That is 3.45% more than an average realtor. Now, let's assume that we sell your house for $525,000. On average, what that means is we're going to earn you $18,112.50 more than the average realtor. Now, I don't know about you, but that is a lot of money to me.
Wow, so that's jujitsu all right there. Like that is showing and demonstrating how they benefit in hiring with us using this slide from your listing presentation. It's seeding the idea of what the home might be worth, right? Because they might be thinking it's 550 or something like that.
Yep.
And you're giving 18,000 reasons why they should hire you instead of those other guys, right? Specifically,
Absolutely.
our guys. Some of you were referencing some of the discount firms that are out there. And so being able to show how they're going to benefit by not just doing the minimum amount possible, but rather everything that we're going to do to provide that and how they're going to benefit. A lot of times we're good at talking about like maybe what they get as being the full service provider, but we don't show how they're really going to benefit. We don't even, and it doesn't even have to be the numbers here so much. I mean, the numbers are a big part of it, but even the experience of being able to work with somebody that I trust and like is also a place where we want clients to place a premium on our expertise, right? Like that comes down to it is we don't have to worry about fighting a lot of those firms out there when they place a premium on our expertise. And that's what that translates into is a better, less stressful, more affirmed and validated sale and purchase of their next home because they're working with somebody that they truly trust. And so, Gary, this is your favorite one?
Yeah, what's yours?
Mine is actually the next few, right? So it is leading up into answering the question of, well, how do you do that? How are you going to deliver on that promise that you made? Because it goes back to that property marketing plan.
So what are some tips that you would provide everybody here? Because we've still got like 246 people here live on this webinar. What would be some tips that you would say, okay, as you go through this, these are some things you got to point out?
Oh, from the marketing standpoint?
Yeah.
So I think it's important first and foremost that they realize you have a marketing strategy. Right. So there's too much. And when we played the little bit of the video from our video that talks about how to market your Austin home, one of the things that we want people to understand is that we're not going to do what they fear. What sellers and what people fear is that we're just going to put a sign in the yard and that we're going to put it in the MLS and then just hope that that thing sells, right? Because what that means, if we're doing the minimum, guess what? It's going to sell for the minimum, right? And the fact of the matter is that when we do more to communicate that this home is on the market, when we do more to be able to properly show and to be able to properly communicate the value of the home to the prospective buyers, now all of a sudden they're not. We're like, that's how the erosion of price happens. When we do a poor job of promotion, price erosion occurs. And so to combat that, the first thing that we need to understand is we've got a comprehensive strategy, right? It's not just put a sign in the yard, put it in the MLS. And by communicating that too, it also says it does this concept of polarization. It means that I do it this way. There's other people who do it the other way. And we need people to know that. I mean, here's the thing. There is this thing of like, well, especially when a market like is today, right? Like, well, I can just put it in the MLS and it will just sell. Like, there's many price points, not all price points, but there's many price points where that might be the case because of the limited supply, where, yeah, you could put it in there and heck, you could take just like crappy photos from your phone and put it in there. And yeah, there's a good chance it'll sell anyway, right? In certain price points, right? I know in Austin that to be the case. However, is that home selling for its potential? Is the home reaching its potential when that's all we do? Just take photos from the phone and they're a little dark and dingy and the toilet seats are up and all that kind of stuff. No, you know that. We know that. And so, but I take it to the extreme to be able to show, we want to be able to show the other end of that, which is like, well, when we do a really good job with the promotion, we have a strategy. We're using the effective marketing tools and technologies that are available to us that people use these days. Right now, all of a sudden, they, as in the prospective seller, they're answering their own question. How do you get that result? Oh, well, obviously, this is how he's getting the result, right? He's got a strategy. He's using all these cool tools and technologies. And the fact is, we need to be able to we need to equip ourselves to do this. There's a tremendous byproduct. Like when we market property more effectively, we then have the tools to market ourselves more effectively. That's how we grow our practice. In a lot of ways, when we do both, the great thing is you take better care of your sellers, right? And then all of a sudden it's easier for you to get more sellers. Does that make sense? Because we're doing this strategy. We're using tools like social media. We're using tools like online marketing. We're doing the stuff that, quite frankly, it works really effectively, works really well. And all we're just doing is letting people know that this to be the case. And so if I were to share tips, one is let them know you've got a strategy. Let them know what tools and technologies you've decided to invest in, right? What tools and technologies that you've decided to invest in, and ones that make sense, right? So you got to connect the dots. So they're like, that makes sense to me. All right. Mm-hmm. So, and that's really all you have to do, right? Like if I were just trying to equip someone, you just decide what you're going to do, right? And hopefully through our examples today, we've given you some ideas on, well, where can I do this? When you download that property marketing plan, by the way, you're going to have a lot of stuff like, and you don't even have to do it yourself, to be honest with you. You could, if you have like a listing coordinator, download that property marketing plan and be like, okay, here's what you do now for me, right? Like, right. Or maybe you have a virtual assistant, whatever, be like, here's your new plan. This is what you're going to do for me. And what happens is, now all of a sudden you're able to deliver on that promise or deliver on the promises. And I would imagine when you get to where you have enough listings, right? So as you get more, that's why in our career acceleration program, we talk about putting parts of your practice on autopilot. It's so that you can do more of what you want to do and less of what you don't want to do. And to be honest, at a certain point, you're not going to want to, if you have enough of them, you're not going to want to market your listings. You're going to want to get some help to do that. I get help to do that. So that's what you're going to want to do as well in time.
Cool.
But you got to have a plan to start with.
Got to have the plan. All right. We've got several more questions I want to touch on, Chris. And I know we've been here an hour and 43 minutes. So if you have not signed up yet, this is your chance. Go sign up now. You're going to get our listing presentation templates, our client welcome kit templates, and our property marketing plan templates as bonus gifts today for just $67 a month when you join our club. So go join the club right now, and let's get to this next question. Debbie says, if I already have a website, do I continue using it and insert your products, or do I switch to using your website?
It's up to you. I don't want to give like a
there's no blanket answer, right?
My answer to you is this: don't get rid of the one that you have right away, right? Like you have an existing website. You might have people who are been trained to be able to go to there. You might have existing site traffic. So I never advocate for getting rid of it. I do advocate for adding hours. Even if you do nothing else with it, add it, because it's one more potential, right, search result for people to make it easier for people to find you. Yeah. And that's important. That's an important part of your powerful online presence, is to have that. So I never advocate getting rid of, especially if you go do a search and your current site shows up for you. Don't get rid of it. So just add to it. But we give you all the other stuff to be, like we give you the stuff you want to post it on your existing website. That's fine. Take it and use it on your existing website. We actually do a little bit of both. So you can go to Creth Real Estate and you're going to find that we've got our full-blown website, but then you can also go to chrisscott.online to see an example of what our websites look like. And so we use a combination of both, because we find that sometimes it's just easier to use one versus the other. And I think you'll find that a lot of our members also, if they have one, they kind of complement it. Ours we created because it's just easy to use, and most of our clients didn't have a website at the time. And I would say if I took a poll, most clients still don't have another website, right? You're at a brokerage, you're at a firm, they probably have you listed on one of the web pages on their website, but you don't have one yourself, is what I would say the majority of folks. But some of you already made that investment, and that's fine. So I wouldn't replace the one that you have until you've,
I just Googled myself, Chris, and our Paperless Agent website ranks number 5. Yeah,
it should work. It takes time. It's not an instant thing.
It's not instant, but my goodness, that's incredible. Number 5. All right. So Christy says, how many days in advance do you send the email? So Christy, that pre-listing packet email, I will send out almost as soon as I get off the phone with them during our initial consultation, because I want to provide them as much time as possible to review the videos, to review the marketing plan, to review the client welcome kit, and to ask any questions they may have. I want them to be able to marinate in it as long as possible before I show up, because I know that if that happens and then I show up, 2, 3, 4 days later for the appointment, and they've actually done what I asked, it's just so powerful. Look, here's the thing. Even if they don't watch the videos, even if they don't view and read the entire marketing plan, it doesn't matter, because at least they see, oh my goodness, look, they've got videos on YouTube. Look at this YouTube channel. Oh my goodness, they have this marketing plan. There's a client welcome kit. Just the fact that you're sending that to them and that they see it is going to elevate you against your competition. And so it's really, really powerful.
And again, I highly encourage you, like all those different components, whether it's the videos, whether it's the property marketing plan, whether it's the client welcome kit, all of those can be repurposed to help you get listing opportunities in the first place. And so, if that might be, for many of you, that might be the first step, right? Is I got to get some listing opportunities. And so you want to use those tools to do that very thing. I would use it in the context of check out what our training on the MVP, or the monthly value program. We show you exactly what marketing to send out, how to do it. There's 5 simple steps that I've talked about. We show you what to do there and exactly how to do so. But get that stuff out there. Get that stuff out there quickly. It is already, getting to the point where we want to make sure that people who are thinking of moving in the near future, right, that we're there, that we are top of mind.
We're top of mind.
Awareness, where they think of real estate, they think of us, and when they think of us, they think of real estate. So we want to do that right now.
All right, Greg Millett says, thanks, guys. Appreciate all this info. Looking forward to being a member. Well, welcome, Greg, and welcome everybody else who has joined us so far. Like I said, if you haven't joined us yet, go do it now as we answer our last question, because we've almost been here 2 hours. Shelly says, I want to know what program is good for making all these presentations to send to clients. So when you join us today, you're going to be able to download these templates. And then what I do is I'll convert the client welcome kit and the property marketing plan. I'll convert those to PDF and then send them to them. And that's how we're doing. We convert the PDF.
You get it in, depending on which for the listing presentation, you get it in Keynote and PowerPoint. For the client welcome kit, you're going to also get it in Keynote and PowerPoint. For the property marketing plan, you'll get that in Microsoft Word and Apple Pages. But so that they can't change it, right? You can put it into a PDF. You got several options. You can put it into a PDF and email folks. You can put it into a PDF and link it. What I did for ours is I actually put it into a PDF, uploaded it, and just put a link there that they link to it to be able to get it.
Where are you hosting those on Amazon or?
Just off our website, it's.
Oh, okay. Cool. So there you go. Super easy to do and super easy to join the club. So go do it right now. And Chris, we've been here an hour and 50 minutes. I just want to say, man, this was awesome. There were over 1,000 people live here. I think we had a really, really educational day, sharing everything that we got with you. And this is just a taste of what you're going to get when you join our club.
Yes, I'm excited. Actually, we've got our next member training coming up next Wednesday. For those of you who are available to check that out, we're actually going to be going over some of our favorite tools for making Instagram something that we do on a more consistent basis. I know posting on Instagram's been something that we've been struggling to do on a consistent basis, and so we found some pretty cool tools to make it a heck of a lot easier. And that's what our member training next week will be featured on, is Instagram. So for those of you who aren't using Instagram yet, or at least not using it for your real estate practice to promote it, it is the place to be, in addition to Facebook as well. So anyway, that's what we're going to be talking about on our next member training. I hope to see you guys there if you're available to make it. If not, don't worry, it'll be in the training library, as well as the resources that we produce for you, so that you can implement what we talk about. That we'll see you guys in the private Facebook group as well. We'll see you online.
Yeah. All right, everybody, take care. Hope you had a great time today. Look forward to seeing you guys in our private Facebook group.
All right,
see you
take
soon,
care,
Chris.
Gary. Bye.
Bye.